I do think it's funny too. Sometimes people are like, God, what happened to America? Why are things going so badly? And it's like, I don't know. Maybe having two of the worst human beings to ever hold the job in the span of 20 years caused some fucking problems. The two worst presidents in 100 years were like a Barack Obama fucking sandwich. Like maybe that was the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the issue. We had Barack Obama on Trump and Bush bread.
Yeah.
It sucked. It was you know, America should have gone keto on that sandwich.
Yeah.
He is an actor, writer, and comedian. You know him from The Daily Show, and you can catch him on Evil on Paramount Plus. It's Paramount, but much better.
Yeah, it's more than Paramount.
Aasif Mandvi. Aasif, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's like the cheeseburger deluxe. Paramount Plus.
It is. It has lettuce, tomato, and maybe even...
It's got this something
depending
special.
on the restaurant, there could be bacon. Depends on the nomenclature of the chain you're at. Can't count on it, but it could be part of it.
I love that you already use the word nomenclature in nomenclature, which I can't even say. Like we're 30 seconds in. We're less than 30 seconds in, and you're slamming me with a nomenclature.
Here's the thing. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. And so I am perpetually trying to prove I have more than I did then, not as many as I want. The point is, I don't say these things because it's comes to me naturally. I say it to impress you and the listener, to cover up for insecurities, deep insecurities.
And to intimidate us.
Yeah.
Because now I'm intimidated. Like we're going to be using 12-letter words in this conversation.
Yeah.
It's just like a regular thing. Like that's what you do.
Yeah. You thought this was just a conversation. It's not.
Right.
It's extremely onerous.
Is this on NPR? Is that what this is?
They won't put this on NPR. Here's the thing. The bigwigs at NPR, all right, they got wait, don't tell me.
First of all, the word bigwigs and NPR don't go together. I don't know what you're talking about. Bigwigs. We are
David to the wait, don't tell me Goliath. All right.
Exactly.
That's the big... all I've got is I got a little rock and I got a little what is it called?
But
what did they slingshot?
You're the one that ends up alive.
I'm just a sexy nude slingshot. I'm a sexy nude slingshot holder staring up at a monster hosted by Peter Sagal.
That's a nomenclature, I think. I don't know. Maybe.
Let's get into it. What a week. In their forthcoming book, Peril, Bob Woodward and Robert Costa claim that the chair of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, feared Trump might go rogue after losing the election and told U.S. military officials that they should get his permission to launch nukes and secretly contacted a top general in China. There's some dispute about the way it's characterized by Woodward and Costa. Then Milley recited his wife's dying words, which the Chinese general had told him in the future after the heptapods had left. Now, I am reading both Arrival and this book. I'm reading two different books at the same time, and I may have gotten them confused. I think I fucked it up.
It sounds totally plausible, though. What's crazy is that, not I didn't even bat an eye. I was just like, okay. Yeah, the heptapods, wow. And you know what's crazy is, this is what's great. You said that, and I was like, shit, I didn't listen to CNN yesterday. Clearly I missed something. I didn't even, it was so not surprising that could have happened that my mind went to I'm the idiot that didn't watch the news yesterday.
Yeah, I think the best jokes are incomprehensible and require special knowledge to understand. That's how you know you're really dealing with an A+ bit of material. So after this news broke, Trump went on Newsmax to call Milley's decision treason, later calling him a traitor and a dumbass. But I think at the end of the day...
Dumbass! I will say one thing, he has stayed presidential. He has remained presidential. Yeah. Okay, go on. So what happened? So you called him a dumbass. and then
I think, Aasif, that he's just being Milley. Just an incredibly long journey to get to a Miley Cyrus thing. Of course, Trump is the same. Every single thing Trump has ever done has worked. He's of mediocre intelligence, limited ability. He is wealthy, and he was the president. Why would he change? All the incentives have worked for him.
Exactly. It's true. It's like, yeah, he's failing upwards. That is the thing, isn't it?
Meanwhile, Republicans have apparently been spreading a rumor that someone has the ability to push a button and cut the feed when Joe Biden goes off script, to the point where Senator James Reich asked Secretary of State Tony Blinken who controls the button that stops Joe Biden's, quote, speaking ability.
Somebody in the White House has authority to press the button and stop the president, cut off the president's speaking ability and sound. Who is that person?
Is this something that Nicki Minaj said?
Unrelated to Nicki Minaj. This is an unrelated conspiracy. U.S. senators actually believing that there is a person whose job it is to cut off Joe Biden's mic when he goes off script. But my question is, if there is such a person, why haven't they been fired for literally never showing up to work? Right. Like if we are quieting Joe Biden when he is saying things he shouldn't be saying, what are these things?
Yeah.
The man says wild shit every single day.
It's crazy to me that literally at this point you can say just about anything, and somebody at some level of power will latch onto it and be like, that's good. Let's go with that. Let's run with that one. You could literally, like, there's nothing that you couldn't say that was too ridiculous anymore.
It is like there's this big kind of like crowdsourced conspiracy theory thing that's happening on social media and right-wing radio and all the rest. And these like kind of theories bubble up, and then a few of them get grabbed onto by mainstream politicians. Sometimes they grab onto one and they kind of let it go. Like you'll see one pop up for a second and then it'll disappear, or they'll switch, right? They'll switch from like hydroxychloroquine. They'll switch to ivermectin, you know? And I just want to say to all the listeners out there who decided to take to Twitter to correct me for saying ivermectin, thank you so much. I almost made it to the end of my entire fucking life without fixing that. I was so close and you stopped it. So thank you.
You were saying ivermectin?
I was saying ivermectin.
For how long?
A full episode. What? Listen, I read
You're
the news.
Dumbass.
I read the news. All right. I read the news.
Yeah.
I see it in words. All right.
Yeah.
That's how I get my ivermectin news. All right. Via the written word, a lost art. Aasif.
But you know that a vowel, when it starts a word, is pronounced in its full, like, you know.
Okay.
I'm totally making that up. I'm making that up. That's completely not ridiculous.
I believe it.
That's what somebody will latch onto that. I'll just say that.
Put it in the comments, everybody. Put it in the fucking comments.
When you start a word with a vowel, it should be the full vowel, not just like the
soft one, not the soft one. You want the hard one.
It's got the
full
hard
one, the rich,
vowel.
the full hard.
Yeah, that's why we say April.
Dumb as shit.
Right? April.
That's why we say April, insulin. I can't think of any others. You know what? But those are the only words that start with vowels.
Right. Those are the only two.
We thought of those. We got rid of them. Okay. But that's it. Otherwise, all right. Even if this senator was right to ask Tony Blinken about the person secretly turning off Joe Biden's mic, Tony Blinken's not going to be able to say much before the person in charge of turning off his mic turns off his mic. It's shadow government all the way down.
Yeah. But clearly, whoever is turning off the mics is asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
So this person is not going to be turning off anyone's mics.
Because Joe Biden is a popular and unifying figure, they have really struggled to come up with an attack against Joe Biden that is effective. So the only thing they can do is attack Kamala Harris, attack the deep state, attack people around Joe Biden, and then say Joe Biden is too enfeebled and discombobulated and senile. It's
an odd strategy, right? It's an odd strategy because Biden has done things that are worthy of genuine criticism, like the withdrawal from Afghanistan, which was a complete, like, big fuck up. So there are places where they could genuinely criticize Biden and really go after him. So the fact that they're choosing to actually pick on sort of nebulous theories about, you know, men sitting in a corner turning off his mic seems like I don't know why they would choose to go for a fabrication or something so crazy when they actually have real stuff they could go after.
I think it's because they're speaking to their base. I think there's a conspiratorial mindset that's always valuable, but also Yeah, I mean, on top of all that, it's silly in another way too, because all it does is it lowers the expectations for Joe Biden. I mean, they did this throughout the campaign, and like Joe Biden, who has actually, I think, spoken eloquently and publicly and honestly about struggling with a stutter his whole life. Like, there are moments when his speech is halting. People know that, they understand that, but they constantly are like, Joe Biden is senile, he can't be president. Then he goes to the microphone and he does this Joe Biden thing, and it's a little loose, and some sentences don't have periods at the end of them. But like, they've set the bar at full blown dementia.
Meanwhile, the last two Republican presidents could not like finish a sentence. You know, like,
no.
Did you ever hear W was no orator?
George W. Bush gave a speech on the 9/11 anniversary. It really reminded me about like, wow, have I not missed that kind of halting delivery where it feels as though he's sort of experiencing many of these words for the very first time in his life. I remember when he was, because when did he became president in 2000? So I was like just going to college, and I remember being like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
How are people not hearing what I'm hearing? This is the least articulate figure I've ever seen in my life. Sure. I will say, though, one of the funniest things I have ever seen a politician do, George W. Bush, I think as president, was at some giant kind of rally or event where he was taking questions, something that also feels quaint. But someone got up there and gave a rambling and incoherent and very long non-question question about immigration reform and the importance of not having people take jobs from Americans and what's going on at the border and how she's sick of what's happening in this country. But at the same time, immigrants are people and they deserve respect. It was this very emotional and maudlin and long speech. And then she finished and he just went, immigration. And then just gave his immigration answer. And he had this shit-eating grin on his face because he knew what he was doing and he knew his staff was seeing him do it. And I will say, I appreciated it. I did. I appreciated what was happening in that moment.
You saw the man behind the curtain, right? You saw the guy who's probably saying to him, like, no matter what they ask you, don't get sucked into any kind of conversation with people because you'll lose. Don't try to answer actual questions because you will fail. Just say the thing that you've been taught to say. You know, and this was what the problem with Trump was, that they would tell him that, and then he would just go ahead and just completely go off script and then just say whatever he wanted. And you could, you know, maybe there were people that they considered to pull Trump's mic to shut off his, you know, which they clearly never did, or those people were also asleep at the wheel. And maybe this is why for them it's a conceivable thing that it could happen, because
it should have happened.
They've thought of it
every time. They project every fucking time.
Right?
I do think it's funny too. Sometimes people are like, God, what happened to America? Why are things going so badly? And it's like, I don't know. Maybe having two of the worst human beings to ever hold the job in the span of 20 years caused some fucking problems. The two worst presidents in 100 years were like a Barack Obama fucking sandwich. Like maybe that was the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the issue. We had Barack Obama on Trump and Bush bread.
Yeah.
It sucked. It was, you know, America should have gone keto on that sandwich.
Yeah.
Everyone in this room has masks on, but are shaking their head no. The Capitol Police confirmed that they will be erecting fences around the U.S. Capitol ahead of Saturday, September 18th rally for Trump supporters arrested in the January 6th riot. The fences are expected to stay in place until after the December 3rd rally for Trump supporters arrested in the September 18th riot. You see what I did?
I listened to an interview with the guy who's organizing this rally on the 18th. This is to defend the people who were arrested during this January 6th.
Because it's super unfair.
They're just going out to just say it's not right that people are allowed to, the people storm our government and try to overthrow our democracy and then get arrested for that. Like, is that the thinking behind this rally? I'm asking you.
I don't know if you know this about America, but we have a two-tiered system of justice. One that treats people fairly and one for white people.
Oh.
So there's basically this kind of fair, big system of justice where everyone's super lenient.
Yeah.
And then there's one for white Republicans with pickup trucks who own small businesses and drive to DC to take what I consider to be basically just kind of unapproved tours of the Capitol. I think this riot and this thing about insurrection has gone a bit too far. These were unsanctioned tours.
Yes.
These were unsanctioned super spreader tours. That's what we're talking about here.
And they were just like, why is there not a tour today? Well, because the Congress is in session and they're holding a thing. And so they were like, no, we paid for the tour.
We paid for the tour with our taxes. And I think what probably also happened in part is everyone saw a screaming shirtless man with a painted face and a furry hat on saying, follow me. And even though it was a weird outfit, confidence. I mean, confidence can get you into any space.
And who hasn't done that? Who hasn't followed that guy, in their lives in a metaphoric sense many times?
I can already see the kind of woke Twitter scold saying, wait, several people were killed. And it stopped the democratic process. And all I'll say is I'm sick of this kind of like vicious partisanship. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I agree.
On Tuesday, Democrats in the Senate rolled out a compromise voting rights bill, the compromise being with Senator Joe Manchin, which means once again, it is time for Joe Manchin to set sail in search of 10 reasonable Republicans to vote for it. It's like watching a dog whose owners moved across town show up at the old house and scratch at the door. They're gone, Joe. Josh Hawley lives here now.
Yeah.
Your family doesn't live here anymore. It's been a long time. Tip O'Neill is fucking dead, Joe. All right?
Gingrich is gone.
Yeah, Gingrich. From the good old days.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham went full Trump, man. Your pals have changed. The people have changed.
Yeah.
All right? After allowing Texas' abortion ban to stand, Justice Amy Coney Barrett defended the Supreme Court this week, claiming they aren't a bunch of partisan hacks. She also added, and I never got Norm Macdonald. I don't really know why she said that. Sucks. It's like, of course you didn't. Meanwhile, Justice Stephen Breyer told Fox News Sunday,
I don't intend to die on the court. I don't think I'll be there forever.
And then he added, and I never really got Norm Macdonald. Again, for no reason, complete non sequitur. Stephen Breyer is on such a weird book tour. Aasif, imagine if you wrote a book and then in every interview, someone said, will you stop doing comedy for the good of the country? Like everywhere Stephen Breyer goes, someone's like, wow, thanks a lot for the book. Can you please leave your job immediately? That must be depressing. Yeah. And he's always like, nah, I don't think so. I'm going to keep doing it. I know that people want me to stop, but I don't want to stop. I like my job. Here's the problem. If I stop doing my job, the thing that is the sum total of my life is over, and I'm not ready to accept that. So I'm going to gamble with everything. If I give up this job, I have to confront the fact that I now know the sum total of my contributions to the American experiment. And if I do that, I have to come to grips with the fact that I might die soon. And I don't want to. Not interested. I'm going to keep doing it. And I know that quite recently, my colleague, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, tried the same thing, and she died just too early. And that fucked up a lot of shit. In fact, if she lived a little bit longer or retired a couple years earlier, women would still have basic rights in Texas. But I don't think about problems as being real. I think of them being fun thought experiments. Because my job's about thought experiments. And so I just sit in my little computer and I think, what if we did this? And what if we did that? And logic and philosophy and different rules.
You think he sits at his computer and thinks that?
I think there's a computer in the room. I think there's a computer somewhere.
There's a computer keeping him alive.
Stephen Breyer, it's time to retire. All right. I say it every week. I don't think he listens. Can I tell you something? So I have repeatedly tweeted something along the line. Whenever there's an article about Mitch McConnell saying, I will turn this Supreme Court into a rabid right-wing group of monsters and nothing can stop me, I always tweet, hey, will somebody show this to Justice Stephen Breyer where he lives in outer space? That's just a go-to for me. And then the other day he gave an interview where he said, I just want everybody to know that there's a lot of considerations, but I don't plan to die on the court, and I don't live in outer space or anything. And I have this little fantasy that I'm bullying Stephen Breyer, and I don't think it's true.
You're trolling him?
I don't know. I have this fantasy that that my terrible tweets are getting on Stephen Breyer's nerves. And while I deep down know that isn't true, sometimes it's just enough to keep me going, you know?
It may be that like your tweets are actually the inspiration that just keeps him alive and just keeps him like, I'm not going to die on this court. I am going to stay on this court for as long as you know what I mean? Like he's not, it may be that.
Do you think it was a mistake when my friend dared me to run up behind Ruth Bader Ginsburg and say boo? Meanwhile, on Monday, a day before the results of the California recall election were slated to exist, Larry Elder's campaign promoted a website that said they detected fraud in the results before the results. This website reminds me of the film Tenet, which is that it only makes sense if you got paid to make it. Aasif, I have a joke in the style of Tenet. All right. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. This is experimental.
This is over my head because I don't know Tenet.
Here's all you need to know about Tenet. All right. It goes backwards.
Okay.
That's it. Sometimes you go backwards, sometimes you go forwards, but it doesn't make sense.
Right. Why
That's
would
the
it?
gist. This is we've raised the difficulty because you haven't seen Tenet. Here we go. Kenneth Branagh's Russian accent in the film Tenet. Marco Rubio, who said once Trump couldn't be trusted with nuclear weapons, called on General Mark Milley to resign because he didn't trust Trump with nuclear weapons. Marco Rubio, this guy is less consistent than...
Am I supposed to make a Tenet reference right now?
No, it already came earlier.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Okay.
I just want you to know something
cut
else.
all this. I hope you cut all this out.
We must leave it in. And let me tell you why. There was a conversation, Hallie, Brian, Kendra, nobody was for this joke. There was no champion for it.
They were like, they said he might not have seen Tenet.
That's exactly what they said.
And then it will not work.
That's exactly what they said.
Because you will just embarrass him and embarrass yourself.
And I said, nah, come on. Everybody saw Tenet. Who didn't see Tenet?
They were like, please retire.
For the good of the country.
Please
stop this show.
Please stop the show. Don't do it. I'm not going to die on this podcast. I just did. I just did.
You know what I also could have set up earlier? Probably would have helped too. Kenneth Branagh is in the film.
Oh, is that right?
Terrible Russian accent. He's always like this. Oh, it's worse than mine. Honestly, my standard for whether I should be doing my Russian accent on the show is the one Kenneth Branagh does every time he does a Russian accent. It's more caricature than my Yuri Gagarin. Is all I want to say about that. Trinidad's health minister had to come forward to denounce the rumor spread by Nicki Minaj, explaining,
as we stand now, there is absolutely no reported such side effect or adverse event of testicular swelling in Trinidad, or I dare say, Dr. Hines, anywhere else? None that we know of anywhere else in the world.
Here's my problem with this, all right? Do I believe that Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend got swollen balls from the vaccine? I don't. But I also don't believe that the Trinidad health minister knows about every case of international swelling balls. I don't think he has that kind of data. I don't think that that is collected or organized.
I want to pitch to Netflix the limited series that is about the Trinidadian health minister trying to figure out if there have been any testicular swelling cases anywhere in the world and making those calls.
It's not calls. It's Cinderella. You walk around and you look for the balls. It's like, I saw the biggest balls I've ever seen the night I was supposed to pick my prince.
But I could just see the Trinidadian health minister calling his counterparts in Denmark and Germany. I just want to find out now.
This is good.
Are there any cases of the testicular? I can do a Trinity accent. Have you seen anybody with the giant balls?
Oh, crikey. Oi, anyone over here see any big testicles? I don't know what accent that was. That went Australian to Cockney English.
It was a guy who was raised in England, but then moved to Australia and now lives in like in Scotland somewhere.
Yeah, he does. He does. He does summer in Scotland. So then Tucker Carlson made an on-air appeal to Nicki Minaj's cousin for him to step forward. But then the next day, Tucker had to go to the airwaves to set the record straight, saying,
last night we read it, we put the graphic on the screen, and we suggested that Nicki Minaj's cousin is the one with the swollen testicles in Trinidad. And we were wrong, and we want to admit it. We henceforth correct the record. Nicki Minaj's cousin's testicles are not swollen. As far as we know, he's fine. It's Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's testicles who are swollen from taking the vax.
Now, this is integrity.
This is like the thing when you say to your friend, like, listen, I have a friend and he's got these giant balls.
Giant balls.
and you want to be like, it's you. It's you, right? No, it's my friend. It's my friend. Buddy, it's you. I get it. You have the giant ball. It's like, it's that kind of where he made up a friend. He made up a friend.
I think someone out there got chlamydia 2 weeks before his wedding, made up a lie, and then all of a sudden, Tucker Carlson is talking about it on Fox News. The absolute, hands down, worst case scenario for a lie. The absolute worst scenario for a lie is you tell a little lie, and then you think, what's the worst that could happen? His cousin, Nicki Minaj, finds out? What are the odds of that? What are the odds that if I make up this little story to keep my wedding on the books, even though I had sex with someone who had chlamydia, which in turn gave me chlamydia, what are the odds that my friend tells his cousin, who tells his cousin, Nicki Minaj, and creates an international firestorm surrounding misinformation around the vaccine? What are the odds? They're remote.
Yeah.
They're remote. The point is, I'm glad Tucker Carlson corrected it.
I'm just glad that Tucker Carlson has taken this story so seriously and really dug deep and really like taken a hold of those giant balls and run with it.
As Tucker Carlson might say, good night and good luck with your fucked up balls. Following the country's collective dry heave last week, CBS's The Activist will be reworked from a reality competition into a documentary special, which is sort of annoying because, like, I invented 6 wig reveals to stop climate change, and now I'll never get to use them. You know what I mean?
And I kind of wanted to see Greta Thunberg throw down on that show.
Here's something that I wanted to have an opportunity to say out loud. Hey, Greta Thunberg, Malala.
I think it's Thunberg.
Whatever.
Thunberg.
Hey, Greta. Hey, Greta.
Greta.
Hey, Greta. I didn't come here to make friends, bitch. I came here to win.
That would have been great. See Greta great. And Malala just go fisticuffs.
I just like Malala straight to camera being like, honestly, Greta is a little bit cocky after the last challenge, and I'm afraid she's not taking this week's event, which is a comedy roast, seriously enough. Because when we did our practice with Bruce Valanche, he was not laughing. And she's walking around focused entirely on her look. But girl, don't worry about your look. You have to tell these jokes to Rue tomorrow.
I just wanted to hear the words, that bitch Malala is not going to win this.
Malala came up to me and she was like, what should I do in my speech? I'm not sure if I should try to be comedic or try to go for serious. And I told her that she should try to be comedic because honestly, I don't think she can pull it off. And frankly, she's tough competition. Sorry, Malala. We may be friends here, but like I came here to fucking win. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak has started a company that is loosely based on the drag queen Fifi from, I believe, season 4 of Drag Race. You're welcome, everybody. And what sucks about that is later, I'll be watching the episode at home with Malala because we'll be friends after the show. And then all of a sudden she'll see me in this moment being such a fucking asshole. And she'll be like, I trusted you. I thought we were friends. Like we're hanging out post filming. And now I'm seeing this.
And it's going to be really awkward in the reunion that they all have after a year.
Exactly. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak has started a company called Privateer to clean up space debris. If cleaning up trash in outer space is your goal, start with that Independence Day sequel. Popping around the mic to make the illusion.
Nicely done.
Also, this week, Billie Eilish wore Oscar de la Renta to the Met Gala on the condition that they swear off using fur in perpetuity. She said, if you wear fur, you're the bad guy.
Nice.
I didn't really commit enough. Bad guy. I think it's cool that she did that. She seems like she really got them to capitulate. It's also such a quaint issue to me, It's like from a pre-climate change era of activism. Like
it's like back when we used to have animals.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna save one mink? There's like no. Are there any left?
Right.
Sorry. Oh, you stopped one mink from being a code. Bad news. They all drowned anyway. I don't know what's happening with the minks. It doesn't matter. And finally, German scientists have successfully trained cattle to use a special cow toilet in an attempt to reduce the industry's environmentally toxic urine waste. This is part of a new policy called the Green Moo Deal.
Wait, cows are using toilet? Nice.
I am.
Okay. I almost let it go. Sorry. You know what? You deserve props for that. But wait, my brain is like, wait a minute, cows are using toilets because I can get my 18-month-old to use a fucking toilet. So I hope my wife doesn't find out that cows are actually using toilets. She's gonna fucking freak.
Yeah, I think they figured out how to get these cows to use a toilet. But now how to get these bulls to lift the seat. Am I right?
Hello. Hello.
Aasif Mandvi, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for being here.